G'day watchers, welcome to Perth Watch, your horology channel broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I have a current piece from PEACOCK Watches. Now I've reviewed one of these before and it was an excellent piece, and this one hopefully will be equally as impressive. Now this is a large box and I've had to elevate the camera to show you it, kind of this iridescent detail on the cardboard here, and tourbillon movement right there, because most of your watches are tourbillon, but not today's watch here. I have something different to share with you. So inside here, kind of a piano coated box, probably MDF inside I imagine, but nonetheless pretty good quality. And here is the watch in there, just to show you that they do store the manuals inside, but I'm not going to go into that in detail because it's just fairly standard. So that's the packaging. Gonna put that aside and then bring the watch in. I'm gonna lower the camera now because I've lifted it up to show you the box. And there we go, guys. This is today's watch on feature. This is the PEACOCK Ultra Speed Chronograph, automatic chronograph nonetheless. And in this case, this is the red color version. Now the retail price on their website is $1,829 as we speak. I think sometimes they might go on sale, but I think it doesn't happen very often. So that is kind of the discussion here. It does come in a few other colorways, including, I believe, blue, black, and green. Just check out the links to the website if you want to see more details and interest in the other colorways and products. Now, as I usually do, let's firstly talk about the movement in here. Now, this is, as far as I can tell, an in-house caliber. They don't shout about it on the website, which is interesting, but in my research, this is PEACOCK caliber SL4821, an in-house automatic chronograph movement. It is high beat. It does have a high jewel count at 41 and a high power reserve as well at 55 hours. Now there is a central chronograph red seconds hand there, 30-minute totalizer at 3 o'clock, a 12-hour totalizer at 9 o'clock, and running seconds at 6 o'clock there. It does hack, it does have manual winding capacity. Now the rated accuracy, I think it's relatively unknown. I can't find any kind of specs there, but in use it is plus 8 seconds per day, which is absolutely acceptable for me in my book. That's many movements would count that as acceptable. Okay, now I just want to, before going on, show you the chronograph function here. Now that red seconds hand is, I've actually stopped it, but let me just let it count down a little bit more towards the 6 o'clock position. I just want to show you how this resets. Now you can see the totalizers there at the 3 and 6 o'clock dials, so 3 and 9 o'clock dials. So just have a close look at it and see how it moves. Very, very pleasing. It's not as, lightning quick as a Valjoux, and it has a very, very pleasant actuation. I say that this watch is a pleasure to interact with in terms of the chronograph movement here. So just gonna let it run for the rest of the review here. Okay, case-wise, 45mm diameter case. That's what it's described as. This is actually a 904L steel case, coated in some way. They don't actually tell me, but I won't be surprised if it actually is DLC, diamond-like coating. But even if it isn't, it's a pretty good quality physical vapor deposition process as far as I can tell. A 44mm bezel, so you can see, hopefully on profile here, you can appreciate the bezel is slightly narrower than the widest part of the case here. Thickness, only 12.6 millimeters, right? That is quite pleasing. And for those who know, a Valjoux movement, an ETA Valjoux movement, probably cannot be made at this type of thickness, because this movement is about 1.5 millimeters thinner than the Valjoux. Now, lug-to-lug distance, probably not very meaningful here because it is integrated. 50.5 millimeters between my thumbnails in case you're interested. And overall watch weight, even though it's on rubber, is about 138 grams. So fairly substantial, even though it is on rubber strap and not a metal bracelet. Finishing wise, right, so a mix between brush and matte. I'm not going to go into this in too much detail, but in between there, it's a kind of a matte finishing. But the rest of it, long brush, hexagonal or angular type finishing here, and nice little angled pushers as well for the chronograph. You know, you got that sign crown there, fine, but nice angled pushers, you know, really cool design. I like how they have put those details in there. Now there's some polishing on the case back there, but that is screw secured with 6 screws. It is a display case back and a pretty nice looking movement, you know, a bit of skeleton coming down the back as well there. Okay, so there's non-screw down crown. It winds at the 0 position, no screw down for the pushers. Overall, this is rated at 50 meters, which is fine. You know, this is not a watch and I expect to take swimming by any means. 50 meters is, you know, good for most everyday users, including, you know, it would be okay if you splash some water on it. You want to be a bit careful because there's a suede surface here. Right, moving on to the dial then, where, you know, there's a lot of where the action is here. It's a multi-layered skeleton dial here that we can see. It's got printed details for most of it, including the sub-dials there, but it's got various red highlights, including that gradient ring, you know, just inside the chapter ring there. And that's supposed to kind of symbolize the passage of time or sense of speed. You know, make of it what you will, but there is a nice gradient there. Polished chrome indices at, you know, kind of all 12 positions, including a 12 numeral at the top of the dial, which is kind of cool. You know, that gives a bit of more sporty character, plays into that. A gray checkered chapter ring surrounding the dial here, so that's supposed to be again a racing motif. And then on the outside of that, again another red highlight, a bright red tachymeter scale, which, you know, adds functionality to this watch. And overall, I reckon it kind of plays into a little bit of a Hoyer Carrera, and that's not a bad thing by any means, in my opinion. The hands are high polish, simple baton main hands, as well as the subdial hands, high polish chrome there, but the central chronograph is bright red colored. It's got an interesting counterbalance, which I want to call a H counterbalance, but I sometimes also call it a TIE Fighter counterbalance. Let me know what you think about that particular shape. Not something I've seen before, I think. In terms of Lume, BGW9, pretty nicely layered on most spots, you know, all 12 indices, the 2 main hands and the 3 subdials, but interestingly not on the chronograph second hand, which maybe is a slight letdown here, but that is what it is. And of course, a Lume shot for you guys to see how it glows in the dark. Now, in terms of the bezel surrounding it, it's actually, just to point out, there is a bit of carbon fiber. Hopefully that's visible there. I don't know whether you can see that, but underneath the steel, there is actually a carbon fiber layer, which is a nice little addition here. The crystal on top is a simple flat sapphire crystal. There is some anti-reflective treatment here, so straight on, you know, it looks okay. But there is some reflection that you can see there, not this, you know, not the most superfluous treatment. Simple flat sapphire is what we have here. Moving on to the strap then, so this is what they call a hybrid fluoro rubber. So you can see it's black rubber, but it's got a piece of suede leather here that's been stitched in with the same highlight color as the dial. So in this case, it's bright red here. Now, interestingly, this is a spring butterfly. Not a push button butterfly, it's spring butterfly, not something I've seen before, but they've, you know, pleasingly actually matched the outer buckle color to the case, you know, rather than leaving it plain steel, which would have been a slight letdown, I think. Okay, so that's the entire description of the watch. Let's slap it on the wrist for a wrist shot for you guys now. And there we have it, the PEACOCK Ultra Speed Chronograph on my 17 centimeter wrist. So remember, it is actually a fairly large watch, right? 45 millimeter case, 50.5 on the lug to lug, and with that integrated strap sticking out a little bit. Okay, and that's how it looks, but fairly thin, you know, as thin as it gets for an automatic chronograph, I think, at least as far as my experience goes, unless you're going to, you know, something ridiculous like Piaget or one of those, you know, Vulgari type of ridiculous watches. And that's how that strap looks on my wrist there. Okay, there we go, guys. That's the entire description of the watch. You know, what are my thoughts on this? What are the pros here? Look, I think this is really another rather impressive piece from PEACOCK Watches. It hits, I think, all the right micro brand tick boxes, you know, the grail tick boxes here. And that being, You know, it's got great specs, right? Nothing shortcoming, you know, no shortcuts on the specs here. It's got good quality fit and finish. You know, that finishing, I won't be surprised if it's actually DLC. It's got an in-house movement, which is, I think, something that very, very few microbrands, if any, can ever, you know, kind of brag about. And the grail that hits most people, that gets most people, is that this has a fully original design. You know, it's not copying anything by any means. Yes, it does kind of harken a little bit to the Hoyer skeleton chronographs, you know, the Hoyer 01 movements, but it's its own thing as far as I can tell. And on top of that, you know, it really is quite an attractive in-your-face type racing sport design. And as I said, harkening the Tag Carreras in no bad way, and beautifully done skeleton movement. I have to say, you know, if this is truly in-house, and as far as I can tell it is, they have really hit it out of the park. It is a very well done movement, which not only looks great, it operates great as well. Any weaknesses? Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the obvious ones. It is large, it is imposing, so that's not for everyone. It's not going to fit everyone's wrist. In fact, you know, maybe it's actually slightly too big for me. The black coating means it's non-formal, but hey, this is not a watch that you're going to wear with a suit by any means. It is actually really a more casual type of watch. And it's got no lume on the chronograph seconds, which an interesting choice. You know, I thought it would be not very difficult for them to do that, and that would have increased the functionality of this watch. The leather, again, precludes wider use. You're going to want to be careful about getting that wet. And it is actually an integrated strap, so you can't remove that and swap it out for anything else. So you're just going to have to live with this particular strap. I can't see that they actually provide other options as well. With regards to the question of price, you know, that's something that people are always going to be asking about micro brands or smaller brands. You know, is this fair? Is this even a micro brand? You know, they've actually come out with the in-house movement. So for $1,800, probably fair, given that you would be very, very hard pressed to get a Swiss-made chronograph, you know, automatic chronograph nonetheless, that is equivalent to this. You know, maybe you can get a Tissot, but you know, that's entry level. You possibly can get a Swatch. I believe you probably could have got a Swatch before, but they may not be available anymore. So let me know what you think. You know, is this considerable for $1,800, or is this asking too much given this is a Chinese watch? Right, guys, there you go. My thoughts, my review of this rather excellent Ultra Speed Chronograph and Peacock watches. Let me know your thoughts below. Look forward to conversation. Thank you again, guys, for joining me on this review. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.